Hey, Sandro, I haven't been speaking, but if you're still listening, here's a way to do a quick check. Well, welcome to Season 9 of the SRL League. We are in Round 1, Bahrain. Very happy to be with you. Bright and early from Texas. My name is Bryan Kessler, and we have a nice 15 driver grid today, qualifying in Sakir at Bahrain. 15 turns, going to be rough on the tires for all drivers. You see last year's champion returning, Logan Orand, in the Haas. Simon Mara back as well. 4 wins and 4 starts last year. We also have P4 in Bahrain last year. Ivan Brito, the Portuguese driver. A few rookies as well, and speaking of last year's champion, Logan Orend, already out on the track, first one. Christian Dorman also making his way out there. We go on board with Logan. Turns 5, 6, and 7. Coming up to the hairpin, turn 8. In the very tricky 9 and 10 here. Going to want to watch the entry and exit, avoiding the curb. And turn 11. Some drivers avoiding the curb on exit. Logan also doing that. A little bit of understeer there. With those right tires on the curbs, not able to get full throttle right away. Nice long straight of sector 3. Into turns 14 and 15 downhill. Has to turn a little bit earlier than expected. Use that downforce going downhill. And Logan will put in the first lap of the qualifying session, the first lap of season 9 here. And you see here at Bahrain, you really maximize the track if you're a driver. Frequently going to see 2 wheels on the curb or sometimes past the curb so you don't bottom out depending on ride height. The first hairpin, turn 8. And then one of the trickiest corners in the game here, 9 and 10. Important to avoid that curve on turn 10. It is a little bit higher, just like turn 1, the inside corner. And again, Logan coming in, turn 11. A little bit of curve there. Didn't seem to affect his time too much. And this is the first qualifying lap, so the purple sector, although not unusual for Logan. Could very easily still come down. And he crosses the line, a very, very respectable 128.6 for Logan to start off the qualifying session. Christian Dorman right behind him in the 129.4. And we'll go to Tim Ventink, the Dutch driver. Quite a few wins of his own. You see their sector 1 starting to get a little busy. Dirty air will be a factor in a circuit with many corners like Bahrain. You don't want to lose the downforce. Of course, the slipstream effective on the straights here, coming up after 9 and 10. A little bit of the curb there for Tim. Meanwhile, Lewis Marshall, 129.6. Ivan Brito, the Portuguese driver, 131. And up into second, Freya Belay, the Ghanaian driver, 129 flat. Finnish driver Aleksi Koivuniemi, 133, battling some illness. Senna Hervaya, 131. 1. And Tim Ventink going to come around the corner. A little bit of traffic, perhaps. Going to need to put in another one, 136. You see there the phenom Simon Mara still in the pit lane. Vincenzo Torre put in a 1:29. We'll go to Greek driver Sandro Doulis, longest senior driver in SRL. Coming around sector 2, was that a bit of oversteer coming out? And a good exit early on the throttle. Sandro avoiding a little bit more of the curve than Logan on his qualifying lap that put him provisional pole for now. Let's see Sandro perhaps drift a little left here. Yes. And an early turn in to 14 and 15. Gonna come across the line. P4 for Doulis. So a lot of drivers back into the pit lane, perhaps waiting for a little track evolution. Track evolution, a big part of F1 23. Just like you see on a typical Saturday qualifying session, you want to be one of the last ones out of the final turn to start your final lap. The young driver Jamie Jägerstrom here getting his out lap, warming up the tires in the Williams. One of only 2 drivers yet to put up a time. The Danish driver in his first season with SRL. Meanwhile, you look at the current lap times. I believe all drivers only with 1 lap banked at the moment, and Logan Oren, last year's champion, with 4/10 on his closest rival, Freya Belay. But Simon Marit still not yet with a lap on the board. And here we go for the Danish driver in the Williams. A little bit of the curve on turn 1. Down the straight here. Curve on turn 4 in the inside also much larger than the other curves on the track, but able to really hit the apex well. The windy 5, 6, and 7 has to find space around the Alpha. And then perhaps lost a little bit of traction there on the hairpin on turn 8. Down on the throttle. Slightly wide on 10, but it is, again, I believe it's the trickiest corner in the game. And you see there a little bit of a moment. That is the loss of traction if you hit the curb coming out of turn 11. And again, the curb. Curb's treacherous here in Bahrain. But Jägerstrom will have a lap time up there. It should put him solidly mid-pack, yes. Q6 at the moment. A couple tenths behind Sandro Doulis and a tenth ahead of Lewis Marshall, the reserve driver coming in. Meanwhile, Simon Mara on a lap. we'll see what color Sector 1 is going to be for him as he enters turn 5 here shortly. Freya Belai, 400ths faster provisional pole over Logan, but a purple sector here from Simon Mara. Has to be the favorite coming into the season. He has not started an SRL race. He has not won. Nice entry in there around 9 and 10. And we'll check his line around 11. I think perhaps the most variable among the drivers I've seen today. A purple sector 2 for Simon Mara. He was very coy about his time trial time for the circuit in the Discord. Early turn into 14 and 15 early on the power. And this looks like it will be a blistering lap. Yes, 128.5 for Simon Mara. A full 10th ahead of Freyob. 10th and a half ahead of Logan. We'll go with the drivers looking to improve. Dion Stahl, long tenured teammate in the Ferrari. Plenty of time to gain for Dion Stahl. As he comes around into turn 4. Consistency for Team Ferrari in SRL. It's pretty much always been Dion Stahl and Sandro Dulis. I imagine among the team, these two will be working the most closely together. Perhaps even working as a team now. Dion pulling Sandro along on a qualifying lap of his own behind him. And will in fact make way for Sandro. We'll go to Dulis. A purple sector 2 for him using the slipstream. And the teamwork coming into play early. We'll see where Dulis goes. Currently P6, but purple sector 2 up into P4, 128.8. So 4 minutes left. You wonder if Sandro can return the favor to Dion. Dion in the pit lane, going to get a fresh set of tires. But good work from the Ferraris there. Go to the Red Bull, Nick Van Gelder. 110 starts, 111 today in SRL. 9 wins with the league, but looking, Nick pitting on the outlap. 9 wins for Van Gelder in SRL, but looking for his first in 3 seasons. The Dutch driver Tim Ventink. 8 wins, 21 podiums in SRL in the Alpine livery. See there on the standing sheet, no other Alpine in the race today, so Ventink will have the ability to pit whenever he would like, whatever pit strategy he finds most useful. He'll also be pitting. Everyone preparing for that one last lap. The margins for Simon Mara a little bit closer than when he set that 128.5. But based on his performance at the end of last season, I have a feeling he's always going to be looking to not just beat the competition, but to demolish it if able. So everyone preparing on the final outlap. Simon with the benefit of a lot of clean air in front of him. Of course, you see two drivers still in the pit lane. I think that's Jägerstrom and Ventink, maybe. Simon will get started here. He will have Ventink up ahead. He comes into turn one. Well done. No curb for Simon Mara. You can throw off your line going into turn two. We'll get as far wide as he can for turn four. And a purple sector, of course. Faster by almost 2/10 already for Simon Mara. He's making it very clear that this will be his day. Around 9 and 10. Is that a slight lockup on the outside tires? And Simon Mara taking the line to avoid the curb on turn 11 early on the throttle. Will come around here now. A purple sector again. He's 3.5 up. And I think Mara looking for a 127 on the board to really make a statement. 14 and 15, the last two coming around, and this should be quite the improvement. Just barely missing the 127, but a full half second faster for Simon Mara. Purple sectors all around. Belay here down the straight in sector 2. We'll have a good idea of where he is in his lap time up here shortly, right before turn 13 as he finishes the sector. Pretty consistent, 300s up. Made up time from sector 1. That was a purple sector from Belay. As he comes around. And an improvement for Belay. Still P2, but he will make Logan Orand work a little harder for it as Logan comes around. And for Logan, it is a 128.3. So hey, so far a familiar top half of the grid. Meanwhile, elsewhere you see Dion Stahl improved his time from 135 to 129.8. Sandro coming in. Of course, you see the lap time. This was not a lap he was looking to really set a time. And that will do it. Of course, Simon Mara, the odds-on favorite for pole. So we've got the Italian Simon Mara, P1 to start. Logan Orand, last year's champion, P2. I imagine those two will find themselves at the top of the table many times throughout the season. Freya Belay, P3. That is, of course, the Rookie of the Year for Season 8. Alexei Koivuniemi, feeling a little under the weather, still coming in, P5. Another very, very solid driver last season, finishing third in the driver standings. So the grid is set. Some new rules this season for the SRL races. Obviously, Bahrain can be very difficult on the tires, and it is no automatic pit entry for the drivers anymore. They will have to reach the speed limit, activate that limiter, and find themselves coming out safely on their own. And speaking from my own personal experience, that pit speed limit here in Bahrain hits very early on. So they'll have to be very careful coming out of turn 14 and 15 if they intend to go in. F123 allowing for many varied pit strategies. Bahrain especially, I think we could see the grid go in different directions. 29 laps here, 50% settings for the Grand Prix. And these drivers will have to work diligently on tire management because they will be screaming. We'll see who goes for the overcut, who's going to want to save tires for late in the race. As we get the formation lap here. You see there a mix. Simon Mara, Logan Orand will be having more or less a direct race on the hard tires. Belay Dulis on the mediums. And then it's pretty much alternating hards and mediums back. Strong drivers near the back of the grid on softer compounds. Tim Ventink comes to mind. I could see Tim making a number of overtakes, the big overtaking zones here at Bahrain, turns 1 and then that tricky 9 and 10. It can be difficult to try overtakes elsewhere. 11, of course, a high-speed turn, but every now and then you'll see on this long straight they're on now, if you have DRS open and you have the ERS available, some folks will try for an overtake here, but it can be dangerous. Logan Orand finding all of the track to keep his tires in temperature. Simone, meanwhile, looking sedate. The Alfa Romeo. Oh boy, and we have disqualifications. Is the formation lap glitch still present? And we are underway. Season 9, inaugural race of Season 9 SRL. Of course, it's the standings a little funky, at least on my end. We'll have Logan Orand in P1 there, you see. getting the overtake early here into turn 4. A little bit at the curb there for Logan Oren. He comes around 5, 6, and 7. He and Simon Mara already with quite the interval over Freya Belay. They are on the hard compounds, so I don't think they'll fight Belay too much. Nine and 10, you see drivers understanding. Now is not the time to get crazy. It's a 29 lap race. Logan fully on the curve there, coming around a little bit of the curve there as he goes around turn 13. Come around 14 and 15. And of course, Robin Herschelhagen, despite appearing as P1, not quite in P1, we continue to follow Logan. Meanwhile, Lewis Marshall, must have been an incident back there, as Lewis Marshall found himself tumbling down the standings. And now, Robin Herschelhagen finally on the standings, appearing in the right spot. Logan Oren, of course, not a full lap ahead of Simon Mara. You see Simon just behind him as we go onto the straight between turns 10 and 11. Logan coming around. A little bit of the curve there, but a good exit. On board is Simon Mara on the hunt. Both drivers on the hard compound. Again, Freya Belay behind them on the mediums. And Belay's window of opportunity here on the hard runners ahead of him will be running out lap by lap. 3 purple sectors for Mara on that one. And DRS is enabled. Our top 3 very close to each other. Simon Mara, Freya Belay in DRS range. Alexei Koivuniemi just behind them outside. And I think a picture we will be used to seeing. Logan Oren, Simon Mara, Freya Belay on screen all at the same time. We go around turn 8, the hairpin. Mara, I believe, not going to have the opportunity for an overtake here. Content. Build up the ERS. We'll have DRS here. Save the tires. You see the DRS open for everyone behind Logan Oren there. And the tires starting to come to temperature. Those exits looking very clean. And as expected, Tim Ventink on the softer compound has really made his way through the grid. We follow him here in the Alpine. Up 4 positions already. Christian Dorman, his mirror image, having moved 4 down. But we'll see if Ventink can continue to climb on the mediums, just like Belay. His window will continue to shrink as the mediums fall off faster than the hard compound. Meanwhile, Alexei making the pass on Van Gelder. A little bit of a moment there for Ventink. And Vincenzo Torre here with Christian Dorman just behind him. Dorman having lost 4 spots, still within range here of Vincenzo Torre. Nice shot there. Dion Stahl behind them. Believe he should have had DRS there. But now well outside of the range. And at the top of the table, Simon Mara, not only did he get past Logan Orend, but he's actually pushed to get Logan Orend outside of DRS range. And as I mentioned that, we will have a safety car as Robin Herstadhagen, it seems, is out. So an unfortunate there for Simon. Pushes, does well to get outside the DRS range for Logan Orend behind him. Meanwhile, Dion Stahl taking advantage of the safety car to pit. Don't believe anyone else at this point will be doing the same. But our first safety car of the season on lap 5, round 1. And we'll take a moment to check the compounds. You see the top 3 unchanged. Simon Mara, Logan Orend still ahead of Balai despite the tire compound difference. It's a tricky time for a safety car. You know, if you stop now, you will still have to stop again. Of course, the good news for Dion Stahl, our first driver to hit the pit lane with the new rules and no penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So well done to Dion Stahl. He will not be the first. As you see on the mini map, Stahl catching up to the safety car queue. See the drivers weaving in the mid-pack, looking to keep those temperatures up. Dion Stahl has rejoined the group. And once the restart happens, a good opportunity for Freya Balai on the softer compound. We'll see if he can gauge when Mara wants to restart. Should have a bit more traction still than Logan Orend. But so hard to gauge the restarts when you're not in P1. A good opportunity to check lap times. Of course, Simon Mara 1:32.6, Logan Orend a 10th behind. Freya with a faster lap than Logan, but Logan, I think, again, on a different race strategy at the moment on the hard compound. Have to believe Logan might have quite a bit more ERS than both Simon Mara and Freya Balai. Alexei Koviniemi, Nick Van Gelder, very similar times. Still no indication yet of when the safety car will end. Aha, there we are. We'll check. Simone going to find the right time. Safety car in. It is Simon Mara who decides when to drop the hammer and when everybody else can as well. course, it would be after turn 15 coming up here. A little debris in the back. Perhaps a little wing damage, maybe from Albin Hertzschlagen, that led to the safety car. And there you go. Simon Mara looks like he has restarted. And a good restart for Alexei Koivuniemi. And Nick Van Gelder going inside, a little contact with Freya Belay. Koivuniemi also pushed out a little bit. And track limits there for Senna Herweyer. Simon Mara with a gargantuan restart, already getting Logan Orend out of DRS range. Tim Ventink continuing to climb. You see P7 now. And Koivuniemi hits the apex well. I don't know if it'll be on here for him with Freya, but it's closing at the interval. And Freyop's tire is only going to continue to drop from here. Meanwhile, Nick Van Gelder also applying the pressure to Sandro de Lis. Now Logan Orend has gotten Freya Belay out of DRS range. So as expected, Simon Mara, Logan Orend. And will Tim Ventink go for an overtake here? He does, he goes inside. Nice driving from both drivers, allowing space. Tim Ventink gets the move done. So Tim Ventink started pretty far back in the grid. Ooh, you see a little bit of opposite lock there, it looked like. But Tim Ventink doing well, making his way up. And the Alpine driver with no teammate doing well on his own here. Looking to make Sandro de Lis his next victim. And it is very tightly packed here. In the middle of the pack. Meanwhile, Christian Dorman applying the pressure to Vincenzo Torre. No real chance for an overtake soon, but there will be a nice long straight with DRS. Oh, excuse me, that's right, safety car, no DRS yet, but does Christian Dorman have the overtake? Vincenzo, it looks like taking a defensive line. It almost seemed like he was going to allow Dorman to pass there. So can't get it done quite yet. But still right on the diffuser is Dorman. And the Ferrari taking a look. That was Dion Stahl, who is on the freshest tires in the grid. A little bit of contact there from Dion Stahl and Christian Dorman. Was there perhaps some damage to Dion Stahl? And some unfortunate contact there. Dion Stahl coming away with the worst of it. We'll go back to Freya Belay, who did cede the space to Alexei Koivuniemi. Koivuniemi on the better tire at this point, certainly 9 laps in. You have to believe the hard tire is the fastest. Still Freya going to, he's not going to just lay back and do nothing. An easy overtake there with DRS. But you see the grip perhaps not quite there for Freya. Of course, turn 2, you can take flat out with the right line. Nice exit there from Belay. And perhaps track limits there for Sandro Dulis. We go to the Williams and Jamie Jägerström, Danish driver. Coming around 9 and 10 here. We'll have DRS. And quite a congested straight there as they come into turn 11. Another straight. No DRS here. Not a real overtaking opportunity. We see Jägerström at least kind of let Van Gelder know he's here, and now we'll see who goes for the moves. As we have, I think, our first pit entries. Tim Ventink, Lewis Marshall, Ivan Brito, our first drivers going in. So for Jägerström, still going to have the DRS. Van Gelder did not go in. Going for the overtake on the straight. Nice and easy. But Van Gelder, and they go side by side, too wide through the S's. Van Gelder's going to take it back. Boy, and Jägerström is really pushing for it here. Goes for it into the hairpin of turn 8. Might have it here on 10. Going to wait. But the straight and DRS for Jägerström, which Van Gelder will not have. Fast corner of 11. See Jägerström on the hard compound, Van Gelder on the medium compound. So Jägerström really able to apply the pressure here. Lap 11 on those mediums, they must be screaming. Dulis peeling into the pit lane, as does Christian Dorman. Jägerström again with the overtake. These two just kind of trading positions. A strange entry there for Van Gelder. I wonder if he felt like Jägerström kind of took the inside line, but didn't seem to lose speed. Maybe just a trick of the camera. Good battling between these two for the second consecutive lap now. As they come into the hairpin. Little snap there for Jägerström. But looked to be a good turn 10 there. Van Gelder now the one with the DRS. Dion Stahl behind them. Dion Stahl, a nice recovery after a bit of contact earlier. Able to take advantage of the cars in front of him pitting. Dion, of course, does have a fresher set of tire than Mini right now, being the only driver to pit during the safety car on lap 5. And in fact, we'll go to the Ferrari as this is the closest interval right now. Jägerström really pulling away from Van Gelder. Van Gelder going to pit. But the DRS detection before turn 14, so Dion Stahl is still the benefit. of being within the interval. And as you see, the top 5 positions still yet to pit. Freya Belay really stretching those mediums quite some way. The longest lifespan of any medium runner. So you have to believe Belay, as the race comes to a close in the last few laps, should have the best tire compound available on the best lifespan. Presumably most drivers here on a medium hard strategy, or for Simon Mara, Logan Ornd, hards to mediums. Softs definitely have the pace here at Bahrain, but even soft hard, you don't think you have the tire life to make it 29 laps. Simon Mara continuing to make it look like just a track day for him. Almost 3 seconds on Logan Ornd. Logan Ornd 2 seconds on Freya Belay. And 3 more seconds to Alexei Koivuniemi. Vincenzo Torre here, meanwhile, will be pulled along by Dion Stahl here on the straight. Dion Stahl again with a very good recovery. I believe down in P13 not too many laps ago. But Stahl, his medium compound tire is now 9 laps old, so perhaps about even with Torres' hard tires, which he's had the whole race. Little wide in 11, but still able to maintain. You see Dion Stahl pulling away a little bit more. Torre using more of the curve than you see the Ferrari in front of him using. Meanwhile, those at the top of the table, Logan Ornd, Freya Belay, have finally pitted. Freya Belay, 14 laps on the medium compound. You see Logan Ornd going to have to make 14 laps of his own on the medium. Meanwhile, Belay will finish off on the hard compound. Check back in with Belay in about 10 laps to see how the counter strategy has worked. So many others in the top part of the grid started on the hard compound and will finish on the medium. Simon Mara, Alexei Koivuniemi, still on their hard compound tires. So Logan perhaps looking for the undercut. So expect this to be a big push lap for Logan Ornd. Net P2 at the moment. Belay behind him, net P3. I suspect with Logan Ornd on some medium, yes, as I was forming the sentence at Purple Sector 2, I suspect over the next lap or so, Logan Ornd will have the new fastest lap of the day, but with Simon Mara still yet to pit, don't think any Logan sets in the next couple laps would be the last of the day. And with a few drivers having pitted, the intervals start to increase. Push laps on pit entry and pit exit will be important. Meanwhile, Dion Stahl, a very easy overtake. But will Vincenzo Torre have the line? Coming in, a little bit of contact. You see the hands there. A little bit of understeer there for Dion Stahl. Coming into 9 and 10. Meanwhile, Logan Oren behind Vincenzo Torre will have DRS. He'll appreciate that. And the gap between Logan Oren and Freya Balai a little bit bigger than it was before the pit entry. Speaking of pit entry, Simon Mara finally pitting here, lap 17. Good stint for Simon Mara. The medium tires should be perfectly fine as he finishes the race in 12 laps. That is Vincenzo Torre, and as expected, Logan Oren with the fastest lap. As you see Simon Mara coming out just behind Logan Oren. So a successful undercut for Logan Oren, but Simon Mara, of course, going to have fresher tires. So that is a position battle to look forward to in a few laps. Dion Stahl still doing well there. P5. On the medium compound, so he'll have to pit again. But he could go to softs and really make his way back up the grid depending on when he decides to pit. And Logan Oren pushing perhaps to keep Simon Mara out of DRS. Simon also had to make his way around Dion Stahl to Logan's benefit. And I did see the lights flashing behind Mara, so I think the ERS... Ooh! Logan making the overtake there on turn 14, I believe, technically, but you see eating a little curb. Mara looking to the inside as they almost appear to be going 3 wide, but Mara backs out. Mara able to get the overtake, and now these two can really battle. Simon Mara on the straight with DRS, able to make up the time, but again, that light flashing. So Logan Oren in good position here. But in a few laps, the age difference in the tires will really start to kick in. Meanwhile, Freya Balai, the next to make his way around the Danish driver. No problem for him. Looking to catch back up to Simon Mara. And Alexei Koivuniemi. Those tires must be 17, yes. So Alexei really going for an alternate strategy compared to our others at the top. And Balai's ERS charge, you see the light flashing. Going to be difficult to make up that interval. Meanwhile, Simon Mara on the straight with DRS. Able to get the move already on Logan Oren, and with fresher tires, going to be difficult for Logan to find his way back. Best thing you can hope for if you're Logan Oren is that Koivuniemi perhaps continues the stint on the hard tires, makes life a little difficult for Simon Mara, slows him down a little bit. And a virtual safety car. This could really alter the strategies. Vincenzo Torre, unfortunately, having to retire. And now this has really thrown a kink into everyone's strategy. Those huge intervals about to be erased. Will anyone dare to pit and see how far they can take mediums or even softs? And the real beneficiary of the day, Dion Stahl, who's only pit stops for Dion Stahl today will be under a safety car. So bold decisions for Dion Stahl, and it looks like they're going to pay off. And was that a little feint for a pit stop from Simon Mara? He certainly has the tires to make it the rest of the way. Of course, now Logan's going to have the tire advantage. Freya Balai stays out. Koivuniemi staying out on those hards are really paying off. And there it is, unfortunately for Christian Dorman, the first speeding in the pit lane penalty of Season 9. Our drivers have done well with the new rule. We'll see who comes out of the pits. Lewis Marshall first, Tim Ventink, Christian Dorman, Nick Van Gelder, Ivan Brito, and Jamie Jägerström. Well, some drama late in the first round at Bahrain. And Robin Herschathagen, I see equipment failure, monitor going out. That's the reason for the retirement. Unfortunate for Herschathagen. We'll check the tires. So we have some soft runners. I like the strategy from Koivuniemi. Mara and Balai staying out. Koivuniemi going to have quite a bit more grip, same as Logan Orend. Tim Ventink, who's already made his way up the grid multiple times. I think a threat in P8 with the softs. So really Dulis Balai, the two on the oldest. Should be a fun last few laps. And if you're Logan Orend, you have to love getting on the soft compound and coming out P4. Same with Koivuniemi. Still quite a few cars to catch up to the queue. So the soft runners, again, it's Alexei Koivuniemi, Logan Orend at the top, Tim Ventink also on the soft compounds. Lewis Marshall, Christian Dorman, Nick Van Gelder, Jamie Jägerström, Ivan Brito. Very, very interesting timing for another safety car. We saw Simon Mara right before Logan went in. It seemed like he was going to go into the pit lane. Not sure if he changed his mind at the last second. Good news for Mara, he does have Balai behind him on the hard compound to keep Koivuniemi and Orend at bay. And I think if you've seen any SRL races where Mara has driven, you know better than to bet against him. as Dion Stahl continues. You see there 6 positions gained since the start of the race. And 10 Ventink as well. We've mentioned both. Dion Stahl, the great beneficiary of the safety cars. As we'll do at least one more. Belay with the fastest lap. Mara just behind him. But Logan Orand and Koivuniemi, I think, the real threats to take the extra point. And as Ivan Brito will catch up to the queue here on turn 4. Safety car might be in this lap. So we will have 7 laps of racing, hopefully, with medium in P1, hard compound P2, and in P3 and P4 chomping at the bit. On the soft compound, it's Koivuniemi and the very pacey American Logan Orand, last year's champion. And while those 4 have been at the top, a very nice race for Dion Stahl, I must say. Some contact for Stahl earlier in the race, but recovered well. Bold moves, pitting on lap 5 with the first safety car really paying off. And Koivuniemi as well, really stretching the hard compounds, so he was able to pit under a safety car. Otherwise, he probably would have come out close to P6 behind Stahl. Safety cars in. Go on board with Simon Mara, so we get the benefit of seeing when he'll go full throttle. And there he goes. Great start for Mara. Belay not quite ready. Meanwhile, Alexi on the faster compound might have the overtaking opportunity already. Belay goes a little defensive. Oh, in contact. That is Dulis. No, it was Dion Stahl. Unfortunate. It was a Ferrari and Dion Stahl. And another car wide. It looks like a Williams. And we'll have another safety car. So a just up and down day for Dion Stahl. Such an unfortunate thing to happen. So you see the wing. Unfortunately for Dion, he'll have to pit again, but I'm not sure how many drivers are able to make a 3-stop strategy all during safety cars. And such a good restart for Koivuniemi. It seemed like the overtake was on to get past Belay. But unfortunately, the safety car really almost immediately right into turn 1. And drivers pitting now, Van Gelder, Senna Herweyer. Of course, Dion Stahl will certainly have to. For Simon Mara and Belay on the the drivers at the top who chose not to pit during the last safety car getting more laps in under a safety car environment. Fewer laps having to defend against DRS before the end of the race. So that little wiggle out of the pit lane for Simon Mara might pay off. And of course, everything that happened in the background we missed. There are stewards in SRL. Any reviews will be handled. And should anything be passed down for this race or the next in Australia next week, we will update. So at least one more safety car lap, I imagine, as Dion Stahl, Lewis Marshall, Tim Ventink continue to make their way back up to the queue. Both Ventink and Stahl together. It's just, you see them up there, P4, P5, and then suddenly P11, P13, and then just again, they're back up. Christian Dorman, 5-second penalty for contact with Logan Oren. Must have happened during the safety car. Dorman there warming up the tires. Koivuniemi, a fantastic race for Koivuniemi. On the soft compound, a real shot at a podium. When you had to believe a good lock for any race, all three are in for the podium. Some combination of Simon Mara, Freya Belay, and Logan Oren. Feeling under the weather, Koivuniemi, but doing well. In the lovely Aston Martin livery. Go on board, full overtakes. All of our drivers, of course, able to gain it back. During the safety car, the second safety car in the span of about 6 laps. Everyone's queued back up. Safety car in. So we'll have 4 laps of racing, hopefully. Of course, DRS won't be available for all 4. And I think this time, based on the restart, during the last safety car, I'll be interested to see the onboard for Logan Oren with Alexi in view, both on softs. Mara got away from Belay very well. Here's the restart. Logan Oren going inside. Dorman also. Dorman getting the pass on Logan, but Logan going to have the line, I believe. Yes. Perhaps more contact in the back. Dorman really falling to the back of the grid. You know, Alexi trying it on turn 4. Not the best exit for Belay, and Alexi. Koivuniemi perhaps not satisfied with just a podium. He wants to challenge Mara, and he'll have the ability. And Belay, another wide line. I wonder if there's damage. But Belay falling behind. So unfortunately, the protection Simon Mara had with Freya Belay behind him is gone, and now he's got two new soft runners, Koivuniemi and Logan Oren behind him. But quite the gap to Koivuniemi. It's only going to get reduced with the dramatic differences in tire compounds. Purple sector there from Alexei Koivuniemi. Koivuniemi getting away well from Logan Oren, already a second between them. So despite the purple sector from Koivuniemi, it's Simon Mara on the older medium tires with the fastest lap. Meanwhile, we'll check in with Belay and Sandro Dulis. As Belay really, the restart did him no favors. The driver who seemed a lock for a podium, now under threat from Sandro Dulis. And Venting continuing his climb up. Right behind Dulis now as we go into the straight after turn 10. You see Tim Venting going for the overtake. Fast corner, a little bit of curb. Dulis tried to hold him off on the inside part. We'll go back up to the top as we begin the penultimate lap here with Simon Mara. He hasn't been leading the whole race, but he's always been a threat. We'll have DRS for the final two, but Koivuniemi will not have it in his quest to catch up to Mara. Meanwhile, Logan Oren looking to get back to P2. Oren and Koivuniemi on the same tire compound, same lifespan for both. And it certainly appears these three will be finishing P1, 2, and 3. As we go to the battle for P2. Logan Oren going to bide his time, I think, for this straight after turns 9 here and 10. You see DRS and ERS. Only a little bit of ERS. Only a quick flash of ERS usage there from Oren. The gap continuing to increase for Simon Mara. It certainly appears he's going to be 5 for 5 in SRL. 5 starts, 5 wins, and perhaps even another fastest lap for him. We'll follow him here for the last lap. The final lap in Bahrain. Simon Mara all week in the Discord as Logan Oren makes the pass for P2 on Alexei. Drivers sharing, I think, coyly their times in time trial. Simon Mara, the only one saying indirectly he was faster than everyone else. Never gave a lap time, but proving here that he was able to back it up. Logan Oren is able to decrease the gap. Koivuniemi, we saw, not able to get within a second of Simon Mara, but Logan will at least here have DRS for the final straight, but 7 tenths, 8 tenths now. It seems like too big of a gap to overcome. ERS flashing for Simon Mara, but there's just not too many more opportunities here for Logan Oren, even if he has the ERS advantage, but he of course will be dumping all of it here if he's not already. This straight after turn 13, no DRS, not a DRS zone. The gap decreasing. Logan Orand able to pull in about a tenth and a half. But Simon Mara comes around turn 14, turn 15. And Simon Mara, for the 5th time in 5 races, will have a win in the SRL League. Great race from Alexei Koivuniemi to finish P3, and Logan Orand, last year's champion, in P2. Freya Belay coming in at P4, able to make up some time after an unfortunate restart in the safety car. So you have Sandro Dulis and Dion Stahl, the teammates who we saw working together in qualifying P6, P7. The rookie driver, Jamie Jägerström, P8, able to avoid a lot of the incidents. We saw Nick Van Gelder, P9, Lewis Marshall, P10, Ivan Brito also finishing there, P11. Unfortunate races after last year's P4 finish for Ivan Brito, but Tim Vinting, yes, we saw many overtakes. Simon Mara looking dominant. 3 safety cars, only 1 pit lane penalty. But the man to beat continues to be Simon Mara. Of course, we're in Bahrain. That's not champagne, that's rosewater. The Italian looking as good as he did at the end of last season. The American Logan Orand in P2. Should be a good battle between those two. And Alexei Koivuniemi, the P3 finish. Great strategies from Koivuniemi to stay in. Always looking good. As you see there, the final standings. Simon Mara the fastest lap. And by quite a margin, 138.69, an extra point for him. A great race for the drivers. I've had fun. We'll catch you next week for round 2 in Australia. Alexei Koivuniemi, the winner at Australia in Season 8 of SRL. Tim Vinting 3rd, and Sandro Dulis P2. My name's Bryan Kessler. It has been a fun time, and we will catch you next week. You can find the SRL League on Instagram. The YouTube channel, of course, will have not only the full broadcast of this live stream, but the highlights. We'll see you next week.